Hello, everybody, and welcome along to round 4 of Sim Racing for Simpletons. Well, we've headed across the pond from Road Atlanta, and we now head to the Eifel region of Germany at the Nurburgring Grand Prix circuit that has been in use since 1984. And a warm welcome to you all watching on the JP Broadcasting Network. My name's Alex Goldschmidt. I'm going to be joined in the booth tonight by Jim Cunningham. We've had 3 rounds so far: Miami, Interlagos, and Road Atlanta. And now we take a little bit of a global tour here with Sim Racing for Simpletons. So, first of all, let's get you through the results of last time out at Road Atlanta. Gabriel Hopp now has 2 wins to his credit and also took the fastest lap of the race on lap 42, meaning he gets a big score of 31 points. Nicholas Johnston in the 282 rounded out second, and Jeff Groff coming back to podium ways in the number 25, finishing ahead of Frankie Arvello, Braden Carroll, Carson Keane, Cole Willard, and Sergei Podok, who ran out the top 8, with Alex Wall and John Stumbras rounding out your top 10. Now, what does that mean in terms of the driver standings coming into this halfway point of the season? Well, Gabriel Hopp has a big advantage. 86 points, placed 39 to Carson Keane. Braden Carroll, a further point adrift in third. Cole Willard and Nicholas Johnston tied on 37 apiece, rounding out fourth and fifth. Sergei Podok, Jeff Groff, Adam Merchant, Theo Salnave, and Frankie Arvello round out the top 10. And it does say at the bottom, 1 drop round per driver and a minimum of 3 race appearances required. But let's introduce you to the circuit here at the Nurburgring Grand Prix. 3.2 miles, 15 turns in all. It's going to be 66 degrees Fahrenheit, so 19 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy. It's race 4 out of 8, and we're going to be going around this circuit for 28 laps. We're heading into the final 2 and a bit minutes of time qualifying. Jim Cunningham, good to be back alongside you. Looks like it could be a very tight qualifying, because at the moment between Leo Dalmas, who leads the way in qualifying, is nearly a second quicker than Frankie Brzezowski, who rounds out our top 6 at the moment.
Yeah, it's good to be back with you, Alex. As we were talking right before we went live on the air, it's been too long. We seem to work together in spurts. We get a lot, and then we don't see each other for a month or so. But yeah, good to be back with you, and great to be here with you at the historic Nurburgring. Even though this is the Grand Prix circuit and not the historic Nordschleife, obviously. But yeah, good to be here, and I love this track. I love the Grand Prix configuration, which I know a lot of people may not be a fan of, as well as, of course, the Nordschleife. That's my favorite track of all. But yeah, I just like being here in general.
Yeah, of course, the cars that the drivers are getting around the circuit are, of course, the SF23 Super Formula cars, pushing around about 550 brake horsepower from their 2-litre inline 4-cylinder turbocharged engines. And, of course, they do have the additional push to pass, which gives them between 50 to 60 additional horsepower. And here in time qualifying, there's Braden Carroll in the number 4 car, currently running P6 on a best effort of a 1:35.551. Leo Dalmas at the moment best out of everybody in the session, ahead of points leader Gabriel Hopp. Jeff Groff rounds out the top 3. Anthony Zitch, in the meantime, in the number 15 SR4S machine, has moved up the way to 4th position on a 1:35.363. Braden Carroll at the moment has just gone personal best in sectors 1, 2 and 4. Could be looking like a lap where he might improve. He's currently in 7th at the minute. Is going through the Hartenbach-Morgan before the Vidal Chicana, coming here at turns 13 and 14. It's going to be hard on the brakes, bump over the curbs. Don't exit it too wide, and use as much curbing as you can before coming through into the Hyundai N curve here at turn number 15. Out of the final corner, the checkered flag is out for qualifying. Braden Carroll crosses the line. Does he improve? Not quite. Just under 2/10 off, but it's Leo Dalmas that takes pole position here in this 10-minute qualifying session. 15 cars set to start on the grid. Two of them, Joshua Benjamin and David Courtwright, not taking to the track for the qualifying session. So let's run you through the grid. Leo Dalmas takes pole position here for round 4 out of 8. Gabriel Hopp, the points leader, alongside him on the front row. 78 thousandths covering the top 2 drivers in qualifying. Jeff Groff and Anthony Zitch ran out row 2 ahead of Frankie Brzezowski and Frankie Arvello. They complete row number 3. Braden Carroll and Sergei Podok round out the top 4 rows, with David Skykanek rounding out 9th ahead of Brian Long for the BBL, the beautiful Beyond Beautiful lads. That's an interesting team name there, Brian. Dakota DeBage and Alex Wall round out row number 6 with Peter Bursak. Then we've got Joshua Benjamin and David Courtwright set to complete the 15-strong grid. 28 laps here at the Nurburgring Grand Prix circuit, 3.2 miles, 5.15 kilometres, 15 turns and all. There's going to be a lot of opportunity to use the push to pass, but you've got to be very, very sparing, because each of these drivers have 200 seconds worth of it, Jim, because they can use it as an attacking and a defensive countermeasure at the same time.
Yeah, I love the push to pass, and you know, as anybody watching this will know, we're doing this as a replay broadcast, so we won't actually be able to provide push to pass current data because of that. But it looks like we're all on the grid here, about ready to get started.
Yeah, and it's lights out, and they are off and away. Gabriel Hopp gets the jump on Leo Dalmas, coming off the starting grid, and the Brazilian shoots into the first corner. There's a big, big incident. That is going to be, there's carnage ahoy here at the Castrol S as they go into the Mercedes Arena 3 wide. There's going to be another one exit stage right. That's Braden Carroll, and he gets onto the kitty litter, narrowly avoids the barriers. Frankie Brzezowski was the biggest casualty in the number 14. Started 5th, now runs down in 14th position. Gabriel Hopp has sprinted away to an initial advantage, heading through in towards Ford at turn 6 ahead of Anthony Zitch. There's Frankie Arvello in that very, very bright Platino Power team car in the number 28. He's made up 3 spots. Sky Connect down in 5th place. He's made up 4 spots on the start. So already Braden Carroll, Frankie Brzezowski have been fed to the wolves here early, but Gabriel Hopp, within the first minute, has already amassed a 1.4 second lead over Anthony Zitch as they cross the timing beam to complete sector number 3. And at the moment, well, the good thing is that Gabriel Hopp, well, Anthony Zitch has just had a moment. And who's that? Leo Dalmas, our pole sitter, has got no front wing nor nose cone on that Super Formula car. So that is going to be hemorrhaging time and understeering like an absolute pig.
Oh, yeah, I can't even imagine driving that car. I think it's worth mentioning, too, that this anybody that watches this series on the regular knows this is a horribly small grid for this series. This race was actually took place literally right around the time that the Super Bowl started for Super Bowl Sunday here in the United States. So that explains why, you know, pretty much half the field is not here. You know, that's obviously one of the biggest sporting events in the world. So, you know, might even say probably would have served them better to race this at another time and you know, and put it off. But nevertheless, we are here, so it's a great chance for some of these guys who are maybe not normally running in the top 4 or 5 to make some really nice points up this week. Anthony Zitch being one of them. You know, he's more of a mid-pack kind of guy, and so this is a great chance for him to pick up some really nice points on the season.
Yeah, same could be said for our man running in second position, Frankie Arvello. Up 4 spots, started on the outside of row number 3. Frankie Brzezowski still in the pits. Leo Dalmas and Braden Carroll have come out of pit lane after effecting, I think, the only fast repair you're allowed. But at the moment, Gabriel Hopp, 1 3/4 seconds ahead. Here's Jeff Groff closing in on the 3rd place car of Anthony Zitch. Looks like there was a little bit of a deployment from Jeff Groff, so the lights on the top of the airbox inlet was flashing just to say that the recharge function is happening. In Japan, they actually call push to pass the OTS system, overtake system. which is strange because the Japanese always find another acronym to say, yeah, well, if the Americans are going to call it push to pass, we'll call it something different. Here goes Jeff Groff to the inside at the Castrol S. Anthony Zitch neatly covers him off and holds on to third as they head into the Mercedes-AMG Arena here at turns 2 and 3 before the very, very tight right-hander. Jeff Groff is trying to see if he can get through. Might get the run coming out of turn 4 and heading into turn 5 and 6 at Ford, but can he get the run? He can do here, but at the moment, he's kind of just having to wait for his opportunity.
Yeah, this is this is a tough track to pass on. With these cars and as much grip as they've got, you can kind of send it in even around the outside on some of these turns, but you know, the problem is it's incredibly punishing if you don't get the pass done. You lose so much time, and you know, in these cars, you give up a couple of tenths is huge.
Yeah, we're still running on board with the number 25. Jeff Groff doing a very, very good job of keeping Anthony Zitch very, very honest at the moment. Meantime, Frankie Arvello is closing in on Gabriel Hopp. The gap has now dropped to about 1.6 seconds. Arvello last time around did a 1:36.1. Gabriel Hopp did a 1:36.6, which is considered as the fastest lap of the race. It looks like Arvello and Groff, as Groff has finally got through on Anthony Zitch. They set faster lap times, but they were not considered fastest lap of the race because they were exceeding track limits on both their respective laps. So that is going to keep Gabriel Hopp at the sharp end. He's pulled the gap up to 2.1 seconds and pumped in the new fastest lap of the race of 36.330. Brian Long for the BBL team in the number 12 runs out the top 10 as there is someone waiting to come out. That's Peter Bursack, who's just been in the pits for well over a couple of minutes. So the bit of damage sustained by the number 7 car, I would imagine. That's why he's been in there. Frankie Brzezowski, I think that damage on the number 14 car was terminal, so he won't be running any more in this race as we're on lap 4.
Yeah, the reason I put the camera back here on Brian Long was it showed that he had an incident, but I don't really see any damage, or you know, he must have just spun or something and not touched anything. So I just came back to see, you know, what his situation was, but he appears to be going fine again.
Yeah, and gaps are starting to shrink here at the Nurburgring Grand Prix circuit as Jeff Groff, Anthony Zitch and Sergei Podok also include into that the man who's currently in P6. We're running on board with the West Coast Racing number 21 of David Skykarinek. Skykarinek,
yeah,
okay.
The only reason I know that is because James used to practice it before every race to get it right. So I drilled it in my head.
Skykarinek, there we go. Right. Well, David closing in on Sergei Podok and Anthony Zitch. So the number 21 getting his groove on a little bit here. He's up 3 places. And he's about 4.2 seconds ahead of Dakota Demaged in the number 82. Alex Wall, Joshua Benjamin and Brian Long ran out your top 10. I have to say, David's livery looks rather lovely. Bit of high vis.
Yes.
Bit of pink, bit of green, bit of dark black as the background. That's how a livery should be done, folks.
Yeah, it's a good looking livery. Actually, there's a couple of them in here that are really nice looking. Brian Long, I believe it's Brian Long that has the... No, not Brian Long. Braden Carroll. That's him and Dr. Carson Keene, who is not here today. Obviously, probably Super Bowling. They run this like Star Wars kind of livery, like a metal, like a fighter or something, and got some.
Oh, it's probably like a TIE fighter or an X-wing or the Millennium Falcon.
Something like that. It's you know, it's not specifically any one of those because I'm kind of a big Star Wars person, but it's a really cool kind of Star Warsy livery here. What's it?
I'm just waiting for it to engage, hyperspeed or something like that.
I'm sure he is too at this point.
Yeah, I was going to say, but he is recovering now. He's up to 11th position, so 13 cars still running. Frankie Arvello, in the meantime, has just gone purple again for the second lap in a row. He did a 35.8. He's just done a high 35.6, and he's closed the gap to Gabriel Hopp to around about 1.7 seconds, as we are now on to lap 6 out of 28. Gaps are still closing, nevertheless, so Anthony Zitch has got to watch his 6 very, very quickly, as Porok and Skyconnect have really started to close on in, and they have really been pushing. David is actually the fastest out of this 3 at the moment. He did a mid 36.3. Anthony Zitch a 36.62, and Sergei a 36.44. So they're very, very comparable on lap times, as you can just see how they fling these cars into the corners. And Anthony still keeping station where he qualified, started P4, got ahead of Jeff Groff, but Jeff Groff is away and cleared to the tune of about 2.5 seconds. So I think Anthony's got to worry about what he might see in his rearview mirrors in the not too distant future.
Yeah, I mean, he's got Sergei Porok right behind him, and Sky Karinek is less than a second behind him. So they're going to be on Anthony pretty hard here. Like I said, this is a great run for Anthony. You see Sergei looks like he was on his push to pass button there. Yeah,
he's still on it.
Yeah.
Oh. Sergei has to use the escape road there, and Anthony gets stuck on the curve.
Oh, man, I wanted to take a look back at that. Of course, we hardly do replays with the replay file without taking a chance of messing something up, but I wanted to see that again bad. That cost both of them there. That was not a good situation at all. Sergey did end up getting by him, but using the other portion of the track. It's a section that's blocked off for this one. Yeah. Which is actually the narrower, the wider chicane that's used when, like when they do, GT cars and stuff here, where they're using the really super tight chicane for the Formula cars. So.
GT. Yeah, they normally run an endurance race. I think it's normally with GT World Challenge Europe, powered by AWS, and it's a 3-hour enduro. And that can get gnarly at times, but nevertheless, Gabriel Hopp has started expanding that gap between himself and Frankie Arvello to the tune of 1.8 seconds. The Brazilian, who has 2 maximum scores, so 30 points for a win, plus the additional fastest lap point at both Miami and Road Atlanta on round 1 and 3 on his home circuit. It wasn't him, it was Adam Merchant. Ooh. Oh, Gabriel Hopp over the curves big time. The front end lifts off and gets big old air. He could have gone straight off at that point and nearly beached it in the barriers, but he was very, very lucky to not have that happen.
Don't look now, but he now has the fastest lap of the race again.
Oh,
his last lap was a 35.17. So that's pretty significantly faster than anybody else in the field.
Yeah, but you have to say that Frankie Arvello has been trading fastest laps with him so far.
Surprisingly,
he's doing a really, really good job.
Yeah, he's staying with him.
The biggest thing that I'm worried about here, if Gabriel makes a big, big mistake, then it's going to give Frankie Arvello every impetus to just hold on to that lead, because he's 3 seconds ahead of Jeff Groff, who's lapping about half a second behind him in terms of pure pace. But the top 3, they're now consistently running in the low to high 35s around the track here at the Nurburgring, as we see Frankie come out of Dunlop at turn 7 and now go up the famed Michael Schumacher S's, of course named after the 7-time Formula 1 world champion. And then I love this complex coming up here. You've got RTL, and then it's downhill ever so slightly into Bitcover, and then it's mash the throttle down to the floor, accelerate up the gearbox, use your push to pass if you so wish, and then go through what was Advent Corner, now Hatzenbach-Morgan, into the chicane. And this is where we saw Gabriel, despite getting air under the front wheels and the front wing, he still managed to post the new fastest lap of the race as we hit lap 9. So 9 down, 19 to go, and the Brazilian consummately continuing to lead, and he's up that gap now. He was nearly, what was it? half a second quicker than Frankie on that particular lap.
Yes.
And the gap has now swelled again. So it's a bit like a pendulum swing at the moment, Jim.
Yeah, he's increased that lead in the last 2 laps by 3/4 of a second. It is kind of coming and going, ebb and flow, so to speak. But yeah, he's starting to really find his groove and his rhythm around here, and this is one of those kind of tracks too. This is very much a track that you got to get into a rhythm. And I'm gonna drop back here to Sky Karinek. He is right on the heels of Sergei Porak here. He was actually closer right before I clicked to him. He gotten within about a 10th. I thought he was going to make a lunge on him here.
Yeah, it can be the case that sometimes if you make these slight errors here or there around at the Nurburgring Grand Prix circuit, of course, yes, there's a lot of grass and gravel runoff, but the barriers are still very, very close. Here comes David. Oh, he showed his nose going into RTL at turn 10. And Sergei went, no, I'm covering you off. I've got more than a car's length between you and me. But now, look at this. David is not using his push to pass, whereas I think maybe Sergei could be. Into the chicane. David dives to the inside and just stops on a nickel and gets the job done. That's a great job, but Sergei Podok has now decided to pit. So I wonder if he's had too many off tracks and that has caused him to get a black flag penalty and serve a penalty thereby. So that now releases Anthony Zitch. So let's just see. That's a drive-through penalty.
Is it?
That Sergei Podok has just had to serve. He hasn't stopped on his marks anywhere, from what I can see. Yes, he has actually. So whether he's picked up a little bit of damage, maybe.
I didn't see a black. No, I think he's just pitting. This is his strategy to pit early in this race, I think.
Gabriel Hopp, in the meantime, is the first driver on this race that has just gone sub 1 minute 35. 1:34.930. He is absolutely flying as the man from FNG Racing representing Brazil. Of course, we visited his home track, Interlagos, round 2. Didn't quite make the top step. Was close enough, finishing P2. But he looks like that. He looks absolutely in control of the vehicle. Coming out of bit curva at turn 11, now through the fast sweeper at turn 12, and then it's the chicane and turn 15 to deal with. So and he's got that gap now up to
every time.
Yeah,
that curb's going to bite him if he's not careful.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, because I mean, when we saw the big air front wing and front wheel lift on the number 29, I was getting a little bit worried because I thought, well, if that car goes straight on, he's got no chance, and that car will be an absolute mess, and it won't be coming back out. Frankie Brzezowski has been out for a couple of laps. He's about 8 laps down at the moment, and he's in for his second pit stop. So Frankie Brzezowski not having a good night in the office.
No, yeah, definitely not his best race, unfortunately. You know, this track isn't for everybody. I struggled for the longest time around here on this Grand Prix circuit. You know, it's just some of those like downhill, like it says, there's some downhill sections here that make it, you know, hard to get the car slowed up, and it's hard to judge your braking points. And some of these downhill sweeping corners like this can be tough and sling you right off track. But as you can see from what Gabriel's doing now, he just posted another fast lap. His last lap was even more into the 34. He is, and of course the fuel load's getting lighter and lighter, which is only going to make the car quicker as long as he holds onto the tires. But yeah, this is so much of a rhythm track. You really got to get into a groove here. Now, this is the kind of place that you can picture yourself doing some like Top Gun stuff. Put the music on and just fly, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Whether you're Maverick or Iceman in that kind of respect. But yeah, and also with the fuel loads going down, it's also going to help with the tyre degs.
Sure.
So the rears aren't going to be that heavily influenced. But when they come in for their pit stop, then it's going to be a case of, okay, you've got to then think, right, what's my fuel consumption under low fuel? How much do I need to put in? So you're always thinking about, you're looking at your fuel readout, you know, how many litres per lap are you using? Can you lift and coast? Anthony Zitch now comes into the pits here on lap number 12 out of 28. So including this, we've got 17 to go. And Gabriel just continuing to do what Mr. Consistency when it comes to fastest laps. He just did a 34.776. So just under half a tenth slower than his fastest lap of the race. But he's making his way through in towards turn 7 at Dunlop. Hard on the brakes, turn it in. Adverse camber to the right-hand side. Here's Anthony returning.
Yep. Oh,
yep.
Come on now.
Oh, Braden Carroll. Oh, he's rolled it. Braden Carroll turns in onto Anthony Zitch. Up and over he goes, back on all four wheels.
There's no way that he didn't see Zitch coming out of the pits there.
I mean, he had a bird's eye view.
Yeah, there's no
and look,
way.
no front wing.
There's no way he didn't see Zitch coming out of the pits there. He just turned right across him. I don't
understand that either. I thought he probably thought, well, I've got the speed to do it. Well, you didn't, unfortunately.
No,
And Braden now, no, it was more than unfortunate. Well, Braden Carroll's just cost himself a big amount of points, possibly, on that front. So thereby, he's only got himself to blame for that. I think it was all on him. Anthony came out, did not cross the pit exit line, so stayed in.
Did everything
he stayed where he meant
to do.
Exactly. Stayed to the right, held his position, had the right of way, was on the racing line. And I think, you know, they do say that hindsight is a wonderful thing, Jim. But with Braden Carroll, I think he could have just braked a little bit earlier and just slotted in behind Anthony.
That's the only thing I can think of is that he was just trying so hard to not, get behind Anthony. He didn't want to, have to pass him and lose that time trying to get around him. That he tried to push it in there a little too hard. But, man, he was nowhere near, even remotely clear of him. I mean, he was, I would argue without looking at the replay now, I would argue that Zitch was completely ahead of him. Like he had his nose clear. I mean, if anything, it was, Zitch was the car that was ahead. And I don't even know what just happened there. That's, we will go back and look at it, but for sure, because that's going to be one of the big incidents of the race. And my question now is, did it hurt Zitch as well?
Okay, looking at his last lap time, it was a 2-minute point 109. Gabriel Hopp's just fired in a 34.65.
Oh my God.
It's like a glorified qualifying session for the Brazilian at the moment. There's Brian Long. He's just got through on Alex Wall, our one of our resident Canadian drivers in the number 19, and has got through for P6. Closing in on them, Joshua Benjamin, who didn't set a lap time in qualifying, the number 78 from the US, and he's up 6 spots, and he's tied with Dakota Damaged in the number 82, being the biggest movers of the race so far. We're now on to lap number 14 out of 28, so once this lap has been completed, we'll be at 50% race distance of the 3.2 mile 15 turn circuit here at the Nurburgring Grand Prix circuit. Coming up next time around, we'll be heading to a land down under and heading to Adelaide in Australia.
I'm excited for
and then
that
it's
one.
And then 3 really, really good tracks that show the prowess of the Super Formula cars. Barcelona, Circuit of the Americas, and the final round will be at the Ardennes Forest and the famous Spa-Francorchamps circuit. What a way to have 4 great circuits to round out this 8-round calendar. But Alex Wall losing a little bit of time. Braden Carroll has now been in. There was so much damage caused. He's been on his marks for over 3.5 minutes. So he's now going to be kicking himself, saying, he'll probably think to himself, I've got to look at that replay. Because when Anthony Zitch came out, he was Braden Carroll was no way near halfway alongside him.
No, he was, Zitch was like 2 car lengths ahead of him coming out of the pits, but obviously going slower. So he had all the time in the world to see him there on his right-hand side. that's got to be a slowdown.
Yeah, well, it looks like Braden might have decided to call time on the race after 12 laps. I'm not at all surprised with 2 pit stops, as now we are on to the second half of the race, and the gap between Gabriel Hopp and Frankie Arvello has stretched to nearly 5.5 seconds after the opening 14 laps. Joshua Benjamin now enters pit road, so he will drop a couple of positions.
Yeah, and
see.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. I was thinking out
Good
loud
pit
there. Sorry.
Yeah. That's right. 7.29 for fuel in the pit lane. That's pretty decent. So we're seeing anywhere between a 6.5 and an 8.45 second pit stop.
They wouldn't be taking
comes to
tires,
fueling.
huh?
No. I mean, the thing is that if we went a full Grand Prix distance, which would probably be maybe double the race distance that we're doing here.
50, 60 laps.
You'd probably you'd probably have to take tyres around about the 35 to 40 lap marker as Jeff Groff pits in. Gabriel Hopp has just done a 34.315.
Oh my God.
He is absolutely driving the wheels off of the number 29 FNG Racing entry. I
want to stay with him here and see. I just want to see if he does happen to take tires just for the sake of it. Sky Karinek is also coming in behind him. He missed his mark there a little bit.
Jeff. Whoopsie. Dakota's in as well.
No tires, of course.
No.
And then for Sky Karinek as well. And DeMage is coming in as well. Yep, and Hopp's just doing his thing. So now, after everybody cycles through here, I'm trying to think. It looks like Jeff Groff is going to be the first car on track who has pitted. But I can't imagine that, short of Gabriel Hopp picking up a speeding penalty or something going into pit road, it's going to be, just. I mean, there's no way that you can make up that kind of time without him making a mistake somewhere.
Yeah, whether it's speeding in pit lane, crossing the pit exit white line, or accidentally not remembering to uncheck the tyres. Gabriel Hopp is now in, so he's just crossed the line. So we're now officially into lap 17 out of 28. So 12 to go, including this one. Oh, what? Gabriel Hopp. Oh, has he just had a disconnect?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he has.
He was leading by 6.1 seconds. Gabriel Hopp. He's just disconnected. I think he's gone on that front. He might be trying to reconnect to the server.
And
Frankie Arvello.
Back?
No, Gabriel's not back yet. Brian Long's coming to the pit. So Gabriel.
Oh my gosh.
Gabriel Hopp has disconnected from the server. He's trying to rejoin, though.
Yeah.
He is trying to rejoin. So Frankie Arvello has come out in front of Jeff Groff. And the gap is just about 2 seconds. Brian Long's going to rejoin in what will effectively become fifth. Alex Wall at 6.5 seconds. Gabriel Hopp was doing so well. And then I think he had a disconnect, so that is drama. That was going to be 3 wins out of 4, plus an additional fastest lap point. So that would really put him more than head and shoulders above the field. It would be like the high jump; he'd get the world record. But he isn't going to get it now because we're now seeing Arvello's in first, Groff second, Sky Karinek rounding out your top 3, Poddock now 4th. So
yeah,
the longer
he's gone, man. He's plummeting down the order now. He's gone. Ow. That's that Brazilian internet for you.
Oh dear.
I mean,
that's
there's just some places around the world that it's that the internet quality is not as good, and the ping for this is this is a broadcast a race that's probably based on an American server, and him being in Brazil, Or I say Brazil. Yeah, I guess that is a Brazilian flag. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I'm not sure, but I'm assuming that's potentially what happened there. But oh my gosh, I don't mind a guy getting wrecked or whatever, but man, I hate to see equipment or internet cost a guy a race. You know.
Yeah.
You know, if it's like a steering failure or a internet connection issue, you know, I don't even care if you get wrecked by somebody who just pulled some stupid move. At least it happened on the track, you know. Well,
yeah,
Frankie.
I mean,
congratulations, Frankie and Jeff. Right, we got a battle for the lead now.
Yeah, this could be rather interesting in the final few laps. After this one, we'll have 10 to go here at the Nurburgring before we head to Adelaide, the previous home of the Formula One Grand Prix. If anyone might remember the infamous clash between Michael Schumacher and Damon Hill back in 1995, Benetton versus Williams. I still remember that like it was yesterday.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There were a lot of people that said he did that on purpose, you know.
Yeah, but I think we're seeing the battle of the push-to-pass chess moves here between these two, because they are flashing intermittently. So recharge function is on.
Now,
Now that's interesting. Frankie Arvello's just gone to the right-hand side.
Probably just to break the draft.
Yeah, and Jeff's just gone straight into it and gone, well, you're not getting away that easily, Frankie. Into turn one. Gap is 3 and a bit tenths and closing. Make that 2 and a bit tenths as they come through into turn 3. And less steering manoeuvring from Jeff Groff here on the 25 as we come out of the tight right-hander, close to the steel barriers on the right-hand side of turn 4. And then it's the run down in towards the downhill sweeping left here at turn 5 before Ford at turn 6. And yeah, Jeff's really starting to close that gap to Frankie. Looking at the previous lap times, Frankie did a 36.289. Jeff Groff 35.203. So took a second out of the lead, a full second.
That is
out of the lead.
That's huge. A second difference in lap time is massive.
Yeah, and now we've got out of the 14 starters, well, out on laps, well, whilst coming into the pits. Gabriel Hopp out. Braden Carroll retired lap 12. Peter Bursack lap 4. And Frankie Brzezowski lap 2. So
I'm sick to my stomach for Gabriel Hopp. The kind of race he was having, to have that happen to him, that just, oh my gosh.
That just absolutely sucks for Gabriel. I mean, He'll still score points. He'll score 5, but he won't get the fastest lap point anyway. But it's just dependent on if anyone can beat that 1:34.315. We still have an opportunity that someone might do it, and I've got a strange feeling that you never know. Well, Jeff Groff really putting the frighteners on Frankie Arvello, so they're not concentrating on lap times now. It's more a case of who is going to win this duel between Mano and Mano right now here in the Eifel region of Germany?
Right. No, Anthony Zitch actually just turned the... I see Zitch. Is it Zyke? I get this wrong. I get his name wrong. I can say Sky Kariak, but I can't say...
Anthony Zitch.
Oh, nice pass.
Well, no, Frankie locked up with the right front going into turn 7.
Oh, I was looking
Yeah, he locked up, went deep into the corner.
Oh, the hell, and then I'm going to look back at it.
Yeah, so you're going to see lock up, right front.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking at straight through stuff to make a camera change, and I caught it out of the corner of my eye. I just saw him dive through there. It looked like a really nice pass, but yeah, he capitalized on Frankie's mistake there. But you know, the kind of pressure he was putting on Frankie, Frankie's coming back hard on him. Look, very aggressive.
Yep.
You start putting that kind of pressure on someone, it makes them make a mistake.
Yeah, and now the good thing is Frankie Arvello is in the better position because he becomes the hunter rather than being the hunted. So now Jeff Groff becomes his yardstick, so to speak. One person who I've seen up their pace and has just done a 34.8, Brian Long in 5th position. He's just done a 34.845. Leo Dalmas, who put it on pole position, but unfortunately rounds out our top 10. He started to go a little bit quicker from lap to lap. So this could be very, very interesting. Maybe he might go for that additional point.
I'm hard pressed to believe anybody's going to turn in a faster lap than Hop's fast one there. 34.3 is flying around this place.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I still remember when, what was it, the Formula E 2016 doubleheader at Battersea Park between Sebastian Buemi and Lucas Di Grassi for the title. They took each other out on the second race, like literally within the first chicane, it happened. So they both went in, got their spare cars, and both of them went out and just went on push laps. So basically, if it stayed level on points, Di Grassi would have won basically on win countback. And Buemi clearly had the faster car. And there were so many attempts that Di Grassi was getting closer and closer and closer until he nearly ran out of battery on his second car. And this was back in the day when I think it was only the second season and Formula E still had car changes, whereas now it's a bit different, where they can actually go a full race on their batteries. With this, and there's also like this new charging thing that they were trying to introduce, which didn't quite work out. But nevertheless, I'm seeing some personal bests here. Sergei Podok 1:35.8. Joshua Benjamin's just done a personal best 1:35.9. Jeff Groff, who's now expanded the gap to 1.1 seconds ahead of Frankie Arvello. Well, Jeff just put a number on him, and it was nearly 7/10 to the good for the number 25, who's now leading the race. There's Frankie, who's started P6, now rounds out the second position. Then David Skykarinek, who is the biggest mover of the race so far. 6 places gained in the lovely liveried West Coast Racing number 21 entry, rounding out the top 3. But I have seen it before where drivers have thought, yeah, everything's all good. But when you consider the fact that a lot of drivers, you know, they may make unforced errors. This is a very, very demanding track. You've got force feedback to contend with. If you're on VR, that's an even bigger mental constraint on you as well, because you're in the car and you're looking around without having screens in front. And I've known people to get motion sickness by using VR just once, one of which was myself, and I was not a well bunny, and I said, thank goodness I had something to eat in the morning before I went on at lunchtime, and then waited until the motion sickness died down, and then decided, okay, I'm never going to trust VR again. So if you put me on a sim, make sure there's no VR headset anywhere near it.
Well, I think there are ways to combat that too. It's also a thing that you kind of need to work your way into slowly, as Brian Long is just flying here. He has run down Anthony in just a matter of no time.
Yeah, and now that is P5 for the man, the original founder of the Sim Racing for Simpletons League, and decided, you know what, I'd rather come back as a racer, and so with the team, including, yeah, I mean it's difficult to,
a lot of work.
Yeah, I mean I for 3 seasons I was the lead commentator, and I was also, for a couple of those seasons, the championship coordinator for an R-Factor 2 league, which was GT cars on RF2, and that was when we had the EcoBoost powered Radical car that ended up being used at that time by Team Fordzilla, who were the works esports squad for Ford out of Detroit. But things are getting a little bit closer here. Leo Dalmas is now picking up the pace. He's just done a 35.8. And he's closing in on Joshua Benjamin, who rounds out 9th, having gained 5 spots. But for Leo Dalmas, it has been a race really to forget. He put it on pole position, lost out to Gabriel Hopp by the time we ended up in turn 1, because Hopp had just lit the rear tyres up, got the traction, got the bike down and the purchase on the circuit, and ran away until his unfortunate disconnect in the pit lane. But here comes Delmas with a head of steam, and he's absolutely flying through the middle. And penultimate sector is the number 31 from the US. He just did a 17.6 sector 3, 16.7 in sector 4, so we're going to be coming through into the final sector. We're in the final sector now as we run on board. You can just see how much quicker that Delmas is in comparison with Benjamin in front as they come out of the final corner here at turn number 15. Let's see, does Delmas, yeah, he puts in a 35.9. Sky Karinek has just done a 34. He's done a 34.947. Now, the big thing is that if Leo Delmas has been very, very shrewd with his push to pass, we have seen it before here in SR4S Gym, where some drivers will push that button right up until they exhaust it, as Benjamin lets through Delmas. And if that light over the top of the airbox inlet starts flashing away, we know he's got push to pass to spare.
Right. Well, and a lot of these guys, it's push to pass is its own strategy, and that's a kind of a whole different set of strategy, and just managing that and when to use it and mastering that. But I will say this: Sky Karinek was 12 seconds back a few laps ago, and he is cutting into the gap between him and Frankie pretty nicely. In 2 laps he's cut about 3 seconds out of it. I don't know if he's going to have enough time to catch him. It doesn't look like it with I guess 3 laps to go here, but he sure is carving into it. But you know what, I feel for Frankie a little bit, in a sense that he was riding comfortably in second. Hop had that incident and disappeared, and all of a sudden Frankie was thrust into the lead and Groff was all over him, and I think it might, I think it might have unsettled him a little bit and allowed Groff to get by and kind of get away from him a little bit. I think Frankie was settled in where he was at, and I think it kind of probably caught him off guard a little bit. But
yeah.
That being said, he's opened that space up between him and Sky Karinek again, so back to 11 seconds.
Yeah, Sky Karinek lost 7 tenths on the previous lap. We're very shortly going to be starting lap 26, so 3 to go. And at the moment, well, it could have been a win here for Frankie Arvello. He's 3.2 seconds behind the man that started on the inside of row number 2. Jeff Groff in the number 25 will come round the final corner. And he now starts lap 26 out of 28. 3 to go here at the Nurburgring. And Jeff just constantly keeping that car cornering on rails through turn 1. And nice sweep back towards the outside of the exit of the apex to get through turns 2 and 3 here at the Mercedes-AMG Arena. Normally very, very packed when the DTM is in town, the Deutsche Tourenwagen Meisterschaft, which now is more to the point, not a touring car series, more of a GT3 BOP spec series. I still remember the days of when they had the silhouette cars with those fire-breathing, raucous 4-litre naturally aspirated V8 engines with BMW, Mercedes and Audi going tooth and nail, toe-to-toe. And one of the best bits of DTM racing I've seen was between 2-time DTM champion from the UK, Gary Paffett, and Timo Glock, where they raced for a good, I think it was probably a few kilometres, maybe about 20 or 25 kilometres. They were literally door to door for that amount of time. And then Timo went and won the race, and he basically went, "This is racing, guys. Can't believe it." And he took the win ahead of Gary Paffett, who would be the final works driver from Mercedes-Benz that would clinch a DTM title in the Silhouette era before Mercedes' withdrawal from the series at the end of that championship year before they went on to Formula E. But still, 2 laps to go. 6.4 miles separate Jeff Groff from victory here at round number 4 of the series.
Yeah, everything's kind of settled in. I think the gaps are kind of established there. Short of someone making a mistake or something, I don't know that we're going to see any more position overtakes at this point. Everybody's kind of gapped out a little bit here.
Oh, hang on a second. Leo Dalmas, hold the phone, has just done a personal best in the first, third, and fourth sector. He just did a 35.4 in his previous lap. He's just about to come across the line. Let's see. 135.1. So he's getting closer.
Yeah, that's still miles
he's still
away,
got,
though.
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is, he's... What was it? That's going to be the best part of 9/10 of a second away from that lap time that Gabriel
just turned in on his last lap there when he crossed the line. It was a 134.9. So
yeah,
that's, you know, well, I guess 6 seconds or 6/10.
So as the fuel load is lightening,
I mean, he could in theory turn one in, you know, with that light fuel load, and he seems to be going pretty good there.
Yeah, it's just it all comes down to those last few moments. We are now going to have the white flag lap because Jeff Groff has crossed the line. 3.2 miles remain for the man in the number 25, and he has consummately and conservatively opened that gap to 3.5 seconds ahead of Frankie Arvello, with David Skykarinek rounding out your top three. Jeff Groff doing a 34.997 on that previous lap. So about 7/100ths off of his fastest lap of the race, which has been a 34.92. So he's very much keeping himself consistently ahead of Frankie Arvello. So here's the opportunity for him to pick up a win. Leo Dalmas has just done a 35.0. We could be seeing something special maybe on the last lap, because Leo Dalmas might have an opportunity if he winds it up high enough, goes to volume number 11 in the words of Spinal Tap. He might get the opportunity. Jeff Groff now on the push to pass through into RTL at turn 10 for the final time. He's going to hold on to that button right up until the end of the race.
He's still got
28 seconds. He's going to cross the line before he's even exhausted it looks like. Now up to the final chicane for the last time here on lap 28 out of 28. 15 seconds left to go. He's not letting go of that button. He is going to come through turn number 15. Out of the final corner from third on the grid, it's victory here in round 4 for Jeff Groff in the 25. Frankie Arvello will take P2 and set his best lap of the race on that final tour, 34.4. David Skykarinek will round out your top three. He'll be around very, very shortly. And Skykarinek does a 36.1. So well done to David. He's done a good job. Here comes Brian Long. He's going to finish behind Sergei Podok, who takes P4. Brian Long, 5th place from 10th on the start. Skykarinek with the biggest amount of moves up the order. Here comes Alex Wool, who's going to finish behind Dakota DeMage and is going to keep Leo Dalmas at bay. But Leo Dalmas, he's just done the fastest lap of the race! 134.298 on the last lap. Leo Dalmas gets the additional point. I thought there was something. He went purple across the board. Bang, straight in.
Wow. Well, considering, you know, that he put it on the pole to start with and it didn't go his way, that's at least a nice way to close out the day. You know, he'll get out of the car happy about that at least, you know. Wow.
Yeah, he might have only gotten 6 points, but make that lucky number 7. He's just collared with that fastest lap of the race.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Yeah, and get this, folks. 27 thousandths between Leo Dalmas and Gabriel Hott when it came to the fastest lap of the race at the end of it all.
I really honestly did not see anybody doing that. That's quite impressive. Good on him. All right, let's take a look at these race results here.
Yeah, so your winner of round 4 of the series before we head to Adelaide and the Land Down Under next week, Jeff Groff takes the victory by just over 3 seconds after 28 laps from Frankie Arvello. And David Skykarinek rounds out your top 3. Sergei Podok, Brian Long round out your top 5. Ahead of Anthony Zitch with Dakota DeMage, Alex Wool, Leo Dalmas with the fastest lap of the race on lap 28. You couldn't have called it better than that, Leo. He finishes ahead of the last classified runner, Joshua Benjamin, who rounds out your top 10. Retirements with 12 laps to go. Gabriel Hopp with the disconnect. Braden Carroll are 16 laps to go. Then we had Peter Bursak on lap 4, Frankie Brzezowski lap 2, and David Courtwright didn't even make it through qualifying and get to the start of the race. But Jeff Groff is your winner for round number 4 in the number 25. Good to see another new winner. That makes it 3 from 4 races so far, with Gabriel Hopp, I would imagine, still has a lead, but it's going to be a little bit decimated after what happened here at the Nurburgring. Jim, final thoughts before we close off, buddy?
I mean, if I'm being honest, this wasn't the most exciting race. The field was small because of the Super Bowl. We did have some exciting moments. I am really looking forward to Adelaide next week. I think that's going to be if I'm being honest, a bit of chaos. It's a tight street circuit. It's new to iRacing, so these guys are not going to have a lot of experience on that track. And in my short time that I've driven it, it's tough. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. And then, we'll start that stretch run towards the end of the season. But, it was good fun tonight. I enjoyed it, and I especially enjoyed doing the race with you. I just wish we'd had a few more cars. I wish it wasn't Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah, well, beggars can't be choosers, as the saying goes. But, folks, thank you so much for joining us. Jeff Groff becomes the third different winner in 4 races, joining Gabriel Hopp and also Adam Merchant. That's the halfway point reached here on Sim Racing for Simpletons. Round 4 out of 8 is in the books, with Adelaide, Barcelona, Kota and Spa still to go. We head to Land Down Under next time out for round 5 as the second half of Sim Racing for Simpletons gets underway in true earnest amidst this very, very close in proximity street walls. Well, that's it from myself, Alex Goldschmidt, and Jim Cunningham. This has been a JP Broadcasting production of round 4 of Sim Racing for Simpletons Winter Series for 2025 and 2026. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, whilst you're at it, give us a like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Until then, race hard, race fair, and well, if in doubt, you better go flat out. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.